Good evening to everyone in the chat and out there. It's another episode of the Premier League Review Show. This has been a consistent show that we've been doing since the start of the campaign, and right now we're in Gameweek 8. Obviously, the Premier League has so many drama, so many fun, and as expected, we're here to talk about it. We have a couple of panelists that will be joining us later. We're going to start with Apachino. Apachino, what's happening, bro? Good to see you on the channel again.
You know that I gave you my word. I gave you my word about 2 weeks ago that I was going to be here today, irrespective of the results. People were thinking I absconded last 2 weeks, but I didn't. So I'm here anyways to face the cumulative banter of 4 straight defeats. I'm present.
Yeah. That's actually a shocking one. Obviously, when we get to that section, we're going to dwell very much on it, and we're expecting to cook, as always. So we'll just go through the agenda of today. We'll start with the Arsenal match review. Then we'll move to our title rivals of what that's where the likes of Liverpool, Manchester City, Tottenham, and Chelsea are. I'm thinking of moving Bournemouth to that title rivals watch section, but I don't think they are there yet. Maybe in a couple of weeks they might probably end their place in that spot. And of course, we'll look at other key results. We'll look at the other fixtures that we played in the course of the week. Then, of course, we'll go to our surprise of the week. I'm sure everybody will have the same surprise which happened this evening. We'll look at the injury watch, have a quick glance at the table, and of course, make our predictions for game week 9. Okay, so without further ado, let's just head into the Arsenal match review. But before we start with this, what's your take on Arsenal so far, Dorian?
Like I said before, Arsenal, they're a formidable team. I always say that they were the team that had the lowest or the highest floor from most of the top teams. And it's showing. It's showing because you can clearly say that I don't think any team overall, like from defense to attack, has been very, very good this season. In all phases. But Arsenal, because of how well they defend as a team, if they nick the odd goal here and there, they'll always find it easier to get results compared to Liverpool and City, who need to score more than one more often than not. So Arsenal, they've done very well. They know what they are, and they are relying on what they are, to get results. So far so good for Arsenal. They've done really well, but I do think that they still have a couple of gears to go to if they want to win the Premier League. That's just my thinking. Offensively.
So let's basically go into the fixture. So Arsenal played against Fulham. This was a ground where the club didn't have much joy last season and 2 seasons ago. 2 seasons ago, Arsenal lost in Craven Cottage 2-1, and last season it was a 1-1 draw. And Saliba scored on Raul Jimenez. Jimenez scored first and Saliba equalized. And these were the kind of games that Arsenal needed to get all 3 points against. Especially teams that keep very low blocks. Because if you want to win this Premier League, there's some results that you have no choice but to get. So what is your take on Fulham in this match? And what do you think Arsenal did differently to get the result they did?
I think typical Arsenal, they stifled Fulham. They stifled Fulham. There's this thing with Arsenal when Arsenal play whereby they control the game in a way. It's not necessarily a possession, like a possession-based control. But even when Arsenal are not in possession of the ball, they still feel like they have control of the game, because of how the forward players, operate out of possession, the midfielders operate out of possession, the way they jockey teams around, they always feel in control, even when the score is still at 0-0. So it doesn't let panic set in. So I just feel like Fulham, they were stifled. There was a stat that went out that Fulham had, 0 XG with their shots on target, because if you check the game, Fulham had 0 shots on target. Raya didn't really do anything in the game. He had 0 shots on target. zero big chances, So I think it was more down to how Arsenal set up and controlled the game in possession and out of possession, which was very, very brilliant, to see. You get, and with their dead ball expertise now, they can always nick a goal if the game is tight. They always fancy themselves to nick a goal somewhere. So I think it was Fulham. They came, they gave their best, but Arsenal are just a tough nut, you understand, to crack when you're trying to attack Arsenal.
Awesome, awesome. So, Chooks, welcome back. It's been a while since we had you. Let's just quickly go through the stats of the game. Arsenal had 63% possession, while Fulham had 37. Arsenal had a XG of 1.87, while Fulham had 0.44. Fulham had 9 shots with no shot on target, no big chance, as you rightly said. Of course, with no big chance, there was no big chance missed as well. So Chooks, so far Arsenal has had another set piece goal. This time it was a cross from Saka that Gabriel connected with before Trossard on the back post scored. Is this a tactic that teams will always have problems trying to react to, or are there scenarios where you feel in every game Arsenal might not be able to score a corner kick?
I think it is already part of Arsenal's game to make the most of the corner kicks that they have, right? If you look through the stats as well, I think Arsenal has the most corner kicks, right, made in the entire league. And if you see the gap between Arsenal and the next team, you'd understand that okay, this is a team that actually looks out to get corners. There was recently an accusation from, I can't remember which pundit it was, to say that Arsenal was deliberately looking to get corners from the goalkeepers. You know that the new goalkeeper rule where when there's a time waste from the
Yeah,
goalkeeper, like an 8-second rule or something, it
yeah.
becomes a corner kick. So the pundit pointed out several scenarios in Arsenal's last 2 games where they kept trying to remind the referee that see, the goalkeeper is with. So I think it's part of Arsenal's game to actually, win corner kicks and use those corner kicks to their advantage. And they're also, modifying the way they're playing their corner kicks. They're adding some variety to how they play it. So they can go short, or they can decide to, come just do a simple pass or go long. But the bottom line is somehow there's a friction in that box area where they are blocking the goalkeeper from making movements and also. And I think they've just mastered the art, and it'll be difficult to it'll be difficult for other teams to actually stop them because of the ability to add that variety to how they play the kicks now.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. So, Apachino, prior to the game, it was stated that Raul Jimenez was injured, Rodrigo Muniz was injured, and in Fulham's 2 to 3 or 4 games they've played, they have been using Josh King as an attacker. But Jimenez came in this game, played 90 minutes, and was really struggling. What's your take on Fulham's current number 9s? Do you think they need to go into the transfer market to get a new 9, or is Rodrigo Muniz actually good enough to help them to a mid-table finish at the end of the campaign?
I think Fulham. Look, I just believe that they are what they are, and for what they are, I'd say Jimenez and Muniz are enough for Fulham, because when you look at the way Fulham operates in the transfer market, they are not really like an ambitious club.
Yeah.
You don't see there's a kind of thinking, like if you see a team like Everton, for example, who at the point were lower than where Fulham were.
Mm-hmm.
If you see bringing in a player like Grealish, if you look at Everton going forward, the trying to get a stadium and those other things, there is like a sort of like ambition
Yeah.
beyond where they are. But Fulham, they look content to be a mid-table
Premier
team
League
that
side.
doesn't struggle in the relegation battle, but they just finish around 13th to 10th. Sometimes they do better, but that's what they are. So considering the way they behave, I'd say Jimenez and Muniz are Premier League proven to get you at least between the 7 to 10 goals that a striker in that range would get you. And and keep them up. So I feel like for what they are, this the attacking threat, it's okay for Fulham.
Okay, thanks. So, Chooks, there's a certain Emil Smith Rowe who was dissatisfied with first team football he wasn't getting at Arsenal, and he made the jump to Fulham with the mindset that he was going to basically nail the first team's place there and play consistently. However, he has been in the fringes at Fulham as well. So, what's your take on Smith Rowe as a player? Is it that he's not good enough to be at Fulham's level, so should he make another move, or is it just a case of him having his consistent injury that keep him out of the side?
Yeah, I mean, Smith Rowe was a player I actually really rated at Arsenal, right? He was one of my favorite players at Arsenal. Like even as a rival from like I loved the kid. But watching him make that move because he wasn't getting so much minutes, plus the injury woes he's been having to deal with. He's joined Fulham, and the same thing. He's had to deal with a few injuries over there. I just think he's just had a very unlucky career, right? And moving on from that kind of you know what setback now. Not many players turn that around to reach the potential that they should be reaching. So he's just one of those unfortunate kids, to be fair. And I don't know. I don't know what next for him, to be fair.
Okay, that's fine. So maybe one more question on Arsenal before we move. And do you this is Arsenal's 11th game of the season with 8 in the Premier League, and so far they've conceded just 3 goals, one from open play and 2 set pieces. Do you think that they have the potential to reach the record that Jose Mourinho had in 2005, where he considered only 15 goals with 6 in Stamford Bridge and 9 away? Or is it just a poor performance in the defense?
I don't think that Jose Mourinho's record will ever be touched. I think Arsenal, whilst I'll give them kudos for defending very, very well, I think teams are going to eventually start getting more chances when they face Arsenal. Now, it may still be the least amount of chances gotten against any other team in the league, but I believe it's going to happen. Sooner or later, they'll concede the odd goal here and there. The 15 goals by Jose Mourinho's Chelsea is just a ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous record. Arsenal, they've started very well. They are along that trajectory. If they manage to come close to that record, then I think the league should just be a foregone conclusion, because I think they have enough in attack to make all those clean sheets, you understand, turn them into wins. But I don't think that Arsenal will come close to breaking the record that Jose Mourinho's Chelsea had, which is 15 goals conceded in a season. I don't think they'll come close to breaking that record.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Okay, just one more thing, Chips. Let's talk injuries. Going into this game, there was no Martin Odegaard, there was no Kai Havertz, there was no Neymar Madueke, there was no Gabriel Jesus. What's your take on Arsenal's depth? And do you think these guys are heavily missed despite not being in action?
So Arsenal has the best depth in the league this season, and there's no argument about it, right? Like I even say that your second choice starting defenders are strong enough to be first choice starting defenders for some top four clubs, right? Including Chelsea, right? So that's how far your depth has gone this season, and I think that's what's going well for you also this season. See the number of players you've called missing. If it was 2 seasons ago, Odegaard out, and then Arsenal is running helter skelter because he's like the linchpin in that team.
Mhm.
So taking Odegaard out, and you have someone like Eze who is also stepping in to probably perform better than Odegaard if he was there. Havertz isn't there. You have someone in the quality of Gyökeres. Jesus isn't there. Who again did you call? Did you call Martinelli? I think Martinelli. Oh,
No, Madueke.
Madueke. See, Madueke isn't there. Trossard is also there playing. You have someone like what's his name? One Neri also on the bench. Saka is fit again. So in terms of depth, I think this is that season. This is that season where if you don't win it this season, or if you don't win something this season, then you'd really feel undone. Like you're very, very prepared, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we have Nani in the chat. All of our haters, he like second place as usual. Okay, since I think we have delved so much on Arsenal, let's move to the next fixtures. So we're going to go to our title rivals watch, where we look at what other title rivals did in the course of the Premier League this game week, and we'll touch
Hmm.
on them. And we'll start with Ange Postecoglou. Oh my God! So I think I need to dish out the amount of results he had before we basically cook it together at Zoe. So Espirito Santo lost 3-0 to Brentford, yes, and he lost his job. And Ange came in when Arsenal played Nottingham. Yeah, that was early September. He lost 3-0. He went to play Swansea in the EFL Cup second round and lost 3-2. He managed to get a 1-1 draw with Nottingham with Burnley. Then he went to the Europa League. Europa League that Nuno Espirito Santo won for them, and he drew 2-2 with Real Betis. Then Sunderland visited him in City Ground and beat him. Then SC Midtjylland visited him in City Ground and beat him. Then he lost to Newcastle, and of course, the final straw was against Chelsea. So, what's your take on Postecoglou? First of all, what the hell happened at Nottingham Forest to lead to his acquisition, and how terrible was his performance that led to his dismissal?
Who's the question to me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Dwayne,
okay.
Okay, I think first and foremost, there's a reason why they usually advise owners of all these top clubs to remove themselves from certain sporting decisions. Because when you're making sporting decisions, there's a tendency for emotions to come in, and then you may not have as good an understanding of what it entails, to put together a very good team. From outside looking in, it looks simple, it's just to buy players and put in, but we know what structure from the top, you understand, does down all the way down to the bottom. So I think the Marinakis, he has too much. He's emotional, when you see his character, he's an emotional character. He has
yeah,
too much control over the decision making. Despite bringing in Edu, he still seems like he has a lot of a lot of control
cool.
with what
Yeah,
yeah with what happens at Forest. So it was an emotional decision when to get rid of Nuno, in my opinion, because most coaches, when they are even signing players, they already have a thinking of how they want to approach games and how they
yeah.
want to bring in players that suits how they want to play. If you look at
Mm-hmm.
Forest last season, they were a counter-attacking team. Chris Wood was
Transitioning
scoring goals, but Chris Wood was not having a lot of touches of the
of the
ball. He was just
ball.
very
Yeah.
prolific in front of goal. That's what they
Mhm.
were. You come this season, and then maybe you're trying to. I don't know if I don't even know the plan. You have a personal issue with Nuno because it wasn't just on the pitch issues. It clearly started from personal issues before the season even started. They had personal issues. It's now affected the team play, and it's all just cascaded. Snowballed into what it became. You sack him. You're now going to bring a coach. From the beginning, if you're going to get rid of Nuno, go for Shandaish because
Straight up. Arab football continues.
yeah, exactly. Go for Shandaish because the players you have are the kind of players that will suit how he plays. Going for Ange, who put Tottenham. I remember the game Tottenham played against Chelsea when Tottenham they were down to 9 men and they were
Yeah.
basically still standing on the half. Like everybody was like, it's mental. It may be your philosophy, but it's mental. You
Yeah.
bring him there where you have defenders that are very slow. It was bound to fail. Everybody with a little football brain believed that Ange at Nottingham Forest was going to fail, which it failed
Yeah.
spectacularly. Now it's up to it's up to see if they can, make the right hire. I'll see names like
Mancini.
Mancini. I'm like, this is not like, look, you're already snowballing and you're in a relegation fight, dog fight.
Don't fight
Go and
already.
get a Shondaish that knows how to um escape those, bring him in and then hopefully he steadies the ship. But everything I think it just falls at the feet of Maranakis. His emotions got the best of him, and then he's destroyed a good thing that he had going for now.
Yeah, and there's also some Allardyce as well. So, people have the record for relegation. So,
Excellent.
Chooks, let's talk about your team. You've had your fair share of injuries, but Chile, Levi Colwill, Enzo Fernandez, Cole Palmer, Esugo, Liam Delap, and of course you shipped out Nick Jackson on loan to Bayern Munich. So the Chelsea squad, despite being a vast squad, it feels so thin. Why is that happening?
Yeah, if you've just mentioned a, a couple of key players out now. If you have the quality of the people missing for Chelsea, I think any team will suffer it as well, right? And that's what Chelsea is suffering. You see, there's a lot of silly mistakes, especially from defenders, and that's you're looking at maybe third choice pairing, right? If you want to count the first choice pairing, second choice pairing, maybe the two guys who started that day will not even make the list. So that's just the reality. But happy that they were able to grind out the results, even if the scoreline, doesn't really tell you the story of what happened in the game. Like Nottingham Forest could have been 2-0 up by 10 minutes, right? Because of
Mhm.
silly mistakes from the back and all of that. So, yeah, we're suffering. The squad is looking, very normal now. You don't have Palmer, you don't have some of those big players who can, just alter the game with the kind of quality they have. So I feel like at some point, maybe in December, January, when we have most of them back, then maybe Chelsea can begin to look like Chelsea again. But for now, we'll keep grinding results, and I'm sure the fans will also understand, especially what's going on with the team, and just temper expectations on whatever they were hoping to see at the end of the season.
Okay, so just before I go to Dwayne, let me just discuss something with you, Chooks. Joao Pedro,
Mhm.
your supposed
Yeah.
new striking sensation. His last goal
Mhm.
was against Fulham in August. What's your take on his performances so far? Like on the eye test, he looks like he's struggling badly. He has had like 4 to 5 games where he has not even registered a single shot. Is it a case of the fact that he's actually more of a 10 than used to play off a 9, or that the quality around him is not just good enough to support him?
So it's a mixture of so many things, and two of the things you've mentioned are part of them, right? So the quality behind him, we've seen him behind quality, right? You could say the Club World Cup was not as competitive as the Premier League, right? But we also saw him in Game Week 1 and Game Week 2 of Premier League. Saw him in Game Week 3, where we had those key guys playing around him, and he delivered, right? So yeah, I feel like it's a function of the quality servicing him, right? Uh, Palmer's absence is a big deal. You could say, oh, okay, he's better off playing behind a main striker as well, and that's why he had Delap starting in those 2, 3 games before Delap got injured. Right, but we've also seen him play as a lone striker in the Club World Cup, even in preseason sometimes, and he scored in all these games. So I think he will be all right. I think he'll be all right, right? If you use the Nottingham game for example, you see the three people behind him: Lavia, Santos, and Reece James. These are like three DMs, right, behind someone who's a striker. I'm wondering where you're expecting that creativity to come. In fact, the only big chance that came in that game, I think, before the 70th minute, it was Joao Pedro who created the big chance,
Yeah.
right? So imagine the striker being one. He had to drop deep to create the big chance for Santos, right? So it's not like, oh, it was just a fluke pass or whatever. So yeah, I mean, he will put in the work as a CAM, but when the real quality around him, when they come back, I feel like he'll be all right. I don't have any issues with him at all.
Okay, awesome. So, Zoya, let's talk about the Chelsea defense. Obviously, the likes of Cucurella have been the mainstay, but in centre back, they've had loads of chopping and changing and stuff. As of right now, what do you think their best centre back pairing is?
As of right now, is it from the players that are
No, no, no.
like
As in, when
if
everybody's
ev-
fit.
if everybody's fit, honestly, I think everybody's fit. You have to go with maybe Fofana and Colwill as their
Mm.
best centre back pairing, which personally I don't think it's even I think it's
Bad.
average.
That's good,
So
yeah.
from the beginning, you understand. If Chelsea, if they play their best centre backs, I think Fofana has lost. When you have injuries like that repeatedly, it takes something away from you as a player. And Fofana has gone through those things, so I think he's lost a bit of pace, and he's not really. There's no dominant centre back that they have. They don't have one dominant centre back. They have a bunch of. For me personally, I think average centre backs. I'm not really a big fan of Colwill. I've watched Colwill at times, and I've seen him make some kind of mistakes, and I'm like, really. So for Chelsea, I just feel like across the back line, they are lucky that they have a world class right back, a world class left back, because I believe Cucurella, he's played world class football recently, and they have a world class CDM in front of them. That really helps. It really helps whatever pairing they have in the back line, and it makes them look better than they really are. But trust me, if Chelsea, like when Chelsea gets good centre backs, the fans will see the difference. But I believe that right now, it's Colwill and Fofana, and I wouldn't want neither of them in my team, honestly. Even with how bad Konate has played, I'd rather have Konate than any of the two centre backs.
All right, thanks. And we also have a couple of folks in the chat. Azubike, thanks for being here today. Good to see you, bro. Chooks, let's talk about Rich James. Is this the longest time he has ever been fit?
No, no. But yes, it's the longest time he's been fit since he started having those injuries. But I mean, we've seen Rich James play. I mean, in 2020 season, when we went on that run as well. I mean, he played how many games? Almost 40, 50 games thereabout. So yeah, but it's the longest, we've seen Rich James since he started having those injuries. And boy, uh, well, we're glad to have him. That's the most I can say. We're glad to have him, right?
Yeah, I
Because
can imagine. Okay, so the next question I want to ask you is, why is it that Maresca has not been able to nail down a first team, like a standard first team? Like your wings, today you see Garnacho, tomorrow you see Esteval, next tomorrow you see Gittins, next tomorrow you see Neto. Like, is it that he doesn't trust the players enough to have a consistent run, or he just is staying to chop and change?
so I think it's his thing to chop and change, especially on the wings there. But then again, it's because he we don't have someone as dominant as Salah, for example,
Mm-hmm.
as a winger. If you have someone like Salah who always deliver for you on the wings, then you cannot chop and change him, right? It's like saying, oh, why doesn't he chop and change Caicedo Palmer? So no
Yeah.
matter the lineup, Caicedo and Palmer will make the team, right? So if we
Mm-hmm.
have a winger who delivers in terms of goals and assists as frequently as maybe Palmer or Salah and stuff like that, then of course, yeah, that person will be nailed. But it's because we don't have any such player right now. Neto has his days. He probably decides to score every 10 business days. Esteval is just a new kid who's coming newly to the Premier League. He needs a bit of time to adapt and all of that. Gittins, Garnacho, new kids as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, right now there'll be lots of chopping and changing because we don't have that person who's going to deliver immediately. But once we start having that person, I'm sure we'll have a more consistent 11.
Oh, that's fine. So we're looking at Nottingham right now. As at the time of this recording that we are having, this train, they are 18th in the league. Do you think the new gaffer who's going to come will do enough to stay them off relegation? Or do you think that's it, they'll just wallow around before finishing in the bottom half of the table?
I think Nottingham, they have enough to save up relegation. I'm going off of the quality they have. They lost what they call him. They lost Elanga, who has been a disaster at
Newcastle.
Newcastle. Yeah, but however, when you have Morgan Gibbs White, although he looked a good player when the first couple of games, Chris
Yeah.
Wood has shown that if the service is right, he will get you enough goals. And so I just feel like for Nottingham Forest, and if the manager can sort out their defense, because if you notice it, they were on such a on such a good run last season until the defense fell apart.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the season, they started conceding a bit more goals, and when you start conceding a bit more goals, it affects the way you play across. there's a confidence, a swagger that you don't really have anymore. And that's when he said it. So again, when you look at the team, if you have Murilo, Milenkovic, when Aina comes back and Nico Williams, they have a good enough defensive line that should be able, because when you're in this relegation fights, the one big thing is how good your defense is. If you have a good defense that can keep you in games occasionally, help you nick a lead, and you stay it out here and there. Those are the points that actually saves you from relegation. You rarely see a team that's that has a very poor defense but great attack. In a relegation battle, you don't see them scoring all this 4-3, 3-2, pulling out those kind of wins. It's the 1-0, 2-1, those kind of grinding out results. And you need the defense to be able to rely on defense in those games, in big spots. I feel like Forest, they still have the personnel. The personnel have shown that they can do it at the Premier League level. So I believe that if they get a good manager in that can sort out the defending, eventually they'll be fine. Eventually. But it's up to how quickly the new manager sorts out their defending. That's the question.
Awesome. Yeah, and just to leave this topic of Postecoglou, you can see how good she was, thinking about how you're going to win a trophy and whatnot. And it's just funny, And Chooks, as a manager, what's your take on Postecoglou from his time at Celtic, from his time at Spurs, and now on Nottingham Forest?
I think he's an all right manager, right? I mean, his methods may be on the edge, right? They may be on the edge in the sense that they keep you as a fan on the edge. His methods you could argue that his methods could lead to injuries, for example, because Spurs had lots and lots of injuries because again they keep running and running, just amassing all those distances covered. So I'd say he's an all right manager. Maybe his level was Spurs. The first season, finishing fifth with them was a big deal. Second season he gave them a trophy. You could say the injuries were, cost the low finishing in the second season. But I just say that's his level. He's just an okay manager. He's not a manager I would want my club to have, for example. And I don't think any of the other top 6 clubs would really want to have a manager like him.
Okay,
but he's all right.
Okay, so let's go to the next game. Dwyer, did you see the kind of goals that were scored in this Tottenham versus Aston Villa? Oh my good lord! Like the quality from Bentancur's strike to Morgan Rogers. I don't know whether Morgan Rogers has been all our life. When we used to have him back in the day in our FPL teams, and he was taking up the place with Willie Watkins throughout the entire campaign before picking up from Buendia. So now let's talk about Aston Villa. What the hell happened to them in the beginning of the campaign, and do you think Emery has steadied the ship now?
Well, I think when we had this discussion, a while ago. But again, I'm not just going to base it off of one game because I don't like being too reactionary. You understand? To a game, they won today, fair enough. But in all honesty, like you said, 2 very good goals give them the win. On another day, those goals don't. If they don't find the back of the net, they lose. So the same game, they've lost. We're having a different conversation. But when you look at the way, that, like I talked about, at least when he started bringing in Malen, started playing him a bit more, they started getting better results. I just think, like, when you look at Villa, he has a very good team. He knows his team. He knows his players and everything. And eventually, they were going to pick up. Villa are a very streaky team. That's how they've always been. They're a very streaky team with streaky players. When you'll be surprised, the next month and a half, or the Watkins may become after Haaland, maybe the second hottest striker in the Premier League. Go on a run. Villa will pick up results, and then suddenly, their form will tank. So with them, it's always like a sinusoidal wave. Either they are very high or they are very low. They are really even keeled. So it's no surprise that they've turned it around. And I'm saying it to you again, in the next 1 month, we won't be surprised if we're talking about what has happened to Villa again. That's just the way they are. So for now, they've turned it around. They're good. They're a good team. They have very good players. Morgan Rogers is a very good player. I think a lot of teams wanted Morgan Rogers. I like John McGinn as a footballer.
Yeah,
He's a
hustles, man.
he's a very professional. Those kind of midfield players that exactly what you're going to get when you put him on the
Yeah.
pitch. He's very steady. So those kind of things. It's I like Villa, but not to the level of what they achieved last season. I think they'll do well to finish in the top 10 in the league and hope for a cup run. That's what Emery always that's always been the Emery way. A solid campaign in the league and a cup run. Hopefully, pick up on some silverware here and there. So that's it for Villa. They're exactly what I thought they'll be.
Okay, awesome. So, Chooks, prior to their run of 5 wins in a row right now, they've won 2 games in the Europa League, and of course, Fulham, Burnley, and Tottenham. With their next game against Manchester City at home, do you think they have enough in the tank to get a result against Man City? Or is it a game where Man City brings in better form will just kill them off?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they do have enough, but have they gained enough momentum to face City? I don't think they have, because City has also been on a good run recently, right? And I mean, the new Pep Guardiola I'm seeing this season, I think is a little different from the Pep Guardiola of previous seasons, in the sense that he's now also becoming a bit more aware of his defense. Sometimes you find that they are being a little more cautious than they would ordinarily be, like in the game against Arsenal. I've never seen Pep play the way he played against Arsenal, right? So if he's coming into this season with the mindset that he can stoop to conquer, okay, there are some games where I need to, lock up shop. There are some games where I need to come out and become explosive. Then it means he'll be very, like, City will be a very hard team to beat for anybody, right? And
Mhm.
I don't think Aston Villa has gained enough momentum to actually face City to beat them. Yeah, it could go anyways. I mean, that's football. We've predicted worse, for several other games, and the outcomes will always be different. But for this particular game, in my opinion, I don't think Villa has built enough momentum to actually get something from City. They could get a draw, that's all right, but I don't see them winning City.
Okay, that's fine. So, Dwayne, let's talk Tottenham. I know the fans were really in the trenches under Postecoglou when he delivered the Europa League, but under Thomas Frank, they've had, in quote, mixed results. What's your take on him, his performance as a manager in the team, and how far do you think they can go this season in terms of their ambitions?
Um, I think Thomas Frank has been everything that I expected him to be. He's coming. He's made them a bit more difficult to beat.
Mhm.
But like they say, see, you won't learn how to use your left hand overnight. This sports team was a lot of these sports teams were the same players that were there last season when they had a dreadful campaign. It's going to take some time. They've been better, with especially João Paulinho has come in and he's really done a very good job for them. Spurs they'll be a good team, but it will take time. And first season, it's maybe finish in the top 8, because people fail to see that Tottenham. I think they finished last season in 17th. They
17th,
were
yeah.
yeah. So it was basically them staring at relegation. They finished in
Mhm.
17th. They were that poor, and they still have a lot of holes in the team. When they went for Dominic Solanke, look, I was not the biggest fan of Dominic Solanke, despite him doing well at Bournemouth.
One
I've never
month.
been the biggest fan. They have Richarlison, who is not the player they expected when they were getting from
Everton.
Everton.
Mhm.
Brennan Johnson is tricky also. Mohamed Kudus has played well so far, but Kudus is also a very, very tricky player. So look, in attack, you need some some steady hands if you want to get to the next level. You need some players that week in, week out, you know what you're going to get from them. So when I
Mhm.
look at Tottenham, especially in attack, they're still going to struggle here and there. But going away to Leeds to win 2-1 was a very good result for Tottenham. It's a kind of result whereby last season they probably wouldn't have gotten. You know, they've
Mm-hmm.
it's a mixed bag. You know, you draw with Wolves, you pick Leeds, then you play home to Villa, then you lose. But it's going to take time. And I believe that so far so good. What Frank has done, you know, he's steadied the ship, and then they're going to give him the time he needs to build them into a more consistent outfit. But for now, they are just what they are. You know, they're a better team than they were last season, and the way they play, they are going to be dangerous. You know, in the cup competitions, and this is where for Tottenham, you know, for the money it's good, but Tottenham, you know, going to the Champions League, it's it's a step too far, you know, again in the process. It can make you begin to believe your own hype. You get, they are not a
Yeah.
Champions League team. Their results last season proved they're not a Champions League team. They just won a competition that helped them get there.
Yeah.
So, pump the brakes on Spurs. They'll be a very good. They'll shock a couple of top teams. Chelsea, Liverpool. They've already done it to City. They are likely to, like, you know, occasionally here and there, some of the top teams will go to Spurs, or they'll come to your ground and they'll take points off of you. That's just what they are
Yeah.
going to be. But they will also do bonanza for some of the smaller teams here and there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so one more question on Spurs and Villa before we leave. Chooks, what's your take on Xavi Simons? Do you think he's someone that will cook in this Premier League, or is the jury still out for him?
You know how it is with players from the Bundesliga coming to the Premier League. I'm sure sorry, Apachino, is that's how to call it. I'm sure Apachino is also, you know, get is also getting a sense of what the Bundesliga offers you, right? So yeah, the talent is undeniable, right? He's a talented player, but would you have the space? Because you'd find that there's a lot of space in Bundesliga that you will not find in the Premier League. And that's
True.
what these players are suffering from. But it's not like they're not talented. I think they probably just need more time to understand the league, you know, to understand the intensity, the speed, you know, and at some point they would come through. But
Yeah, yeah,
I think
but the question
for
I need to
now,
ask you now is how much
mhm.
time is more time?
I mean, how much time is more time? Harvard needed more than one season, right, to be able to start seeing some fruits. A couple of other players from the Bundesliga, I can't really remember off the top of my head now, but
Timo Werner?
no, Werner wasn't so much of a success, even though his problem was personal to him, right? Because it wasn't like the chances weren't there. He was getting the chances,
Yeah, you're
right?
like
He just
Nunez.
kept, yeah, who Nunes? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like Nunes, he kept missing them or hitting the bar or something like that. So I think when that problem wasn't even a case of he didn't work. That was a case of, okay, this guy, you could see the runs he was making, you could see the chances he was getting. He just kept missing them. So, but the other players, again, once in a while you can see flashes with Xavi. To be fair, I haven't really seen so much flash. I was expecting more from Xavi, to be fair, but
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I feel like he needs a little more time,
Yeah,
and
yeah, especially with the fact that the son has left, so they are in need of a new talisman. I don't think
yeah,
they got anybody.
they won't get that from Xavi this season, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Maybe Kudus will do that on the other week, but I don't think
Mm.
Xavi would get to that level this season.
Yeah, yeah. So this is the part where Doye leaves the stream. So Doye, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Like,
I'm actually curious to hear.
Um,
And when the moment I learned he was a Liverpool fan, I was curious to hear his thoughts.
you
what's
see,
going on? Talk to us.
you know, again, the thing with football is sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're unlucky. You understand? And I believe that the reverse is happening now. You get, when Liverpool had won 5 consecutive games in the Premier League, I believe there was an overreaction from the Liverpool fans, the media, you know, because when you watch those games, they didn't. Liverpool have not played a complete game all season. They've not had one game where you watch from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, they put together a complete game. They haven't. I don't even think they've had a complete half of football. So it's been shaky. Now, beginning of the season, the ball was the ball was bouncing their way. You know, the odd some things here and there, it just happens. It falls for Liverpool, and then like Kiesa's goal, two defenders go up, the ball bounces, he breaks his way, he puts it in against Bournemouth.
Mm-hmm.
He scored the winning goal in the 88th minute. Right now, it's gone the other way. And I believe there's an overreaction to it. Because if you look at the game against Galatasaray, for example,
Okay.
Galatasaray had a penalty. That was the difference in the game.
Yeah.
What Szoboszlai did in the Galatasaray match that the referee blew as a penalty, the Chelsea defender did the same thing against the Liverpool striker, and it's not a penalty. It happens. So my main worry is how the team is playing. The results, as bad as they are, it's not really, because if you look at the Man U game today, Liverpool could have easily, despite the poor start to the game, they could have easily left that game comfortable victors also. Had the ball bounced away. If you look at the XG, they more than doubled Manchester United's XG. Gakpo hit the post 3 times.
Yes.
I'll call it 5 because one was from a cross that got deflected.
Oh,
That one is that one is lucky. If you look at the chance that Salah had, that he uncharacteristic, he put it, it doesn't even hit the target. And if you look at the replay again, you see that Vets was actually unmarked. He could have easily played Vets in to tap the ball in. Isak had a one-on-one also. So
From Konate.
I'm saying this, that despite having played poorly against Chelsea, Liverpool in the second half, Liverpool could have won the game against Chelsea also. They could have won the game. Chelsea could have won the game. A draw was like a fair result, but however, it broke Chelsea's way. They won the game. Fair enough. It happens because that was how Liverpool were winning games. So for me, when I'm looking at it macro, you understand, my main worry is how they are playing. They'll win games, but the way they are playing, they'll also have these kind of results. Now, when you look at the team, I'm saying that the midfield is not playing well at all. Gravenberch has not been look, he scored a couple of goals, but Gravenberch has not been good passing the ball. The midfield is not passing the ball very well. Szoboszlai is not passing the ball very well. You bring in Curtis Jones, he doesn't pass the ball very well. So it's just a couple of things whereby I believe that they can fix. And what would bother me the most would be Vert's form. He's shown glimpses, but his overall form. Why? Because he's meant to be the creative hub in the team. He's meant to be the one that is meant to pick up, some of all this, get them knit things together, and he's not doing that. So, so again, that's my big worry. As for the defense, we know what they are. They are what they are. Slots should, by now, he should see that Robertson should come back into the team. I don't know why he hasn't brought Robertson back into the team. There are just some uncharacteristic mistakes. Somebody saying the defense has been shaky, but if the midfield does not protect the defense, football, when you defend as a team. The 10 players or at least 9 players, those are what helps the defense. If the midfield doesn't protect the defense, attackers will get at them. And on average, if you leave an attacker and a defender one-on-one, the attackers will get the better of the defenders. So I just believe that personnel issues, one, he needs to bring on Robertson, take out Kekes. He needs to bring in Frimpong, take out Bradley. And unfortunately, I'm going to say it, he needs to put either Szoboszlai or McAllister. One has to go to the bench. That is the honest. One of Szoboszlai or McAllister has to go to the bench. Let Vet start in the attacking midfield role. Play him. If it's going to be Szoboszlai, fair enough. But I don't see the need of you go out to buy a right back in Frimpong. Frimpong comes into the team. Now he's not even playing right back. You'd rather have Szoboszlai play right back. So why did you buy Frimpong?
Yeah.
So again, there's a lot of confusing thing, and I feel like it's getting to the manager. Some confusion here and there, and those kind of things. He needs to get a hold of the team quickly, and I believe that there is so much quality in that team that eventually they will come good. Now, they may leave themselves too big a hole in the Premier League title race, because that's what Man City did last season. Before you know, you're so far behind. Every result, every drop point, it feels like, is the end of the world, and that's what they're currently doing. But I believe that if you look at the strength of fixtures from beginning of season to now, Liverpool have had the toughest run in the Premier League.
Arsenal has had a toughest run, not Liverpool.
No. Liverpool have had right now today. Liverpool have had the toughest run, not Arsenal.
Okay.
Liverpool have had the toughest run, because if
who has Liverpool played?
The only easy team on paper that you can say Liverpool have played, the only easy team on paper is Burnley.
I
They played,
but in terms of the top 60 or the top half teams,
so they played
I'm telling you now. Okay, if you look at it this season, they play Bournemouth, Newcastle, Everton, Man U, Arsenal, and Palace,
and Chelsea. Have you played Palace?
And Chelsea. This is
played Palace.
We've lost to Palace.
They lost to Palace.
Oh, okay.
So if you look at 7 out of the 8 games on paper are difficult. They were difficult. Burnley was the only easy game on paper. That's what I'm saying to you. Man U are always they always give up a problem. Last season we played 2-2 with them at Anfield. Chelsea, you went to Chelsea's ground. Crystal Palace, you went to Palace's ground. Newcastle, you went to Newcastle's ground. You hosted Arsenal. You hosted Everton, who are also, it's a derby. You get. So basically, and Bournemouth, who have been flying this season. 7 out of the 8 games have been difficult games. I was hoping to beat Man U and be like, okay, yeah, we've had the most difficult run. 1 point behind Arsenal is not so bad. But the way Arsenal are going to get their reprieve now, if you look at Liverpool in 3 or 4 game weeks time, Liverpool are going to have the same kind of reprieve. But again, it's going to be, have you left yourself short too much, and you're now playing catch up? So I just believe that, again, the world is not. No team has really come to Liverpool and say smash them and be like, oh, this is, they are so awful. You get the closest was what they call it, Crystal Palace in the first. Yeah, it was Palace in the first. That's the closest that a team has come to say they really smashed Liverpool. And if you look at the game across 90 minutes, it still ended up being very, very balanced. So despite my attack being poor, we have always managed, you understand, to carve out a couple of chances here and there. I believe the team will be fine with time. But I just believe that the coach needs to make some quick decisions with his fullback positions, because we are really struggling in those areas. Get that one sorted out, move Gravenberch back to the base, and the team and they'll be fine eventually.
Okay, fair enough. So as a big question, I think about how Liverpool defense have been shaky and how Virgil van Dijk has been average. So Chooks, let's talk about that defense. There were some expectations going into the new campaign, being in mind that they just won the Premier League. And obviously, they don't spend as much. But going into this campaign, they brought in Frimpong, brought in Kekes. They almost got Guehi, which didn't happen. So what's your take on Liverpool's defense right now? What do you think can be done differently to make it better? Because they're conceding way too many goals.
To be fair, like my guy said, if the team isn't defending as a unit, right, then it becomes a problem. So when your DMs, your CMs, your wingers aren't tracking back enough and all of that, it becomes a problem defensively. But then again, I feel like beyond that, right, it's possible Van Dijk is losing some pace as well, right? He's losing some touch. It may be a heavy statement to make, right? Because obviously it's Van Dijk, but he's putting in defensive actions, right? But even when push comes to shove, he's always the person who's not doing that defensive action to stop the goal. You can say that about Chelsea's goal. You can say that about Bournemouth's goal. You can say that in many instances this season. Van Dijk has always been found one. Is always that one person who's not putting in that defensive action to stop that important goal, right? And it has happened just repeatedly this season. So again, these are proven winners. They've won so many seasons, and it's Van Dijk we're talking about. If there's anybody who can come back from these bad results, it's these same people. So I don't think they would have a problem. Again, I feel like they're also missing Alisson because I'm not sure that the Mama Dash video was his name. I can't remember his name now,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
sure.
yeah. No, you actually said
I'm
it
not
well.
sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's up to the quality of Alisson too, right? Because
Yeah,
I mean, he almost gifted United 1 or 2 goals today. The same thing against Chelsea. I don't think he's up to the quality of Alisson, so I feel like they're also missing Alisson. But one key thing that I feel like Liverpool has missed the most this season has been TAA, Alexander Arnold, right?
yeah,
And
well,
and and I feel like even though people accused him a lot of not being so good defensively, that pass that Apachino is looking for, from his midfielders, TAA was the one who was always, quickly giving it to those forward guys. Salah was a great beneficiary to TAA's passing. Even Nunes also enjoyed from it. So I
yeah,
feel like not being able to replace TAA with that quality, and maybe that was what they planned to do with Vets, who is now not delivering as expected. Frimpong's purchase for me, I feel like that was a wrong buy because he was a right wing back playing in a five man defense. You're bringing him into a 4-man defense. Even when the purchase was happening, I said to myself, I feel like this guy, is just a
not
square
doing
peg. I don't think he would function immediately, even if he might take time to adapt to it. But I don't think that was the profile of right back Liverpool should have been going for.
okay, fair
So yeah,
enough.
that's my opinion here.
Okay, so I've spoken so much about Liverpool and not said anything
Sorry,
about Man United.
sorry,
But we'll make a comment. Go
sorry.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
Can I chip in?
Go ahead,
Yeah, sure,
please.
sure, sure.
So I want to say this thing about Van Dijk. You understand, and I believe that. Look, if you watch football, you understand. If you look beyond the action, you understand. Look at what is happening around him. When we talk of great centre backs in the history of football, if I tell you John Terry, the first thing that comes to your mind, some people it can be maybe Carvalho. You understand, for a while, Ricardo Carvalho. If I tell you about Ramos, you talk about Varane, you talk about Pipi. Neta had Stamp for a period. He had Maldini for a period. All those kind of things. Puyol, Piqué, Ferdinand, Vidic. That's almost how it usually is. Now, you usually see two centre backs where both of them are carrying their weight. It helps. If you look at the goal that was considered today, you have to know who you're playing. You have to know how your personnel plays. Van Dijk is somebody that when Mbeumo made that run, he had two options. He could have gone with the run, or he could have done what he did. Now he did what he did. But we know that for Liverpool, Van Dijk is usually the last man.
Yeah, not the other way around.
Van Dijk is usually the last man for Liverpool. So tell me, why is Konate behind Van Dijk? If Konate had stepped up, it's easy. Oh, see, Mbeumo is offside. If you look at the way Barcelona defend at times, when they are trying to keep their high line, it looks like madness at times, but that is that is how they play. If Van Dijk does exactly what he does, and Konate simply steps up, Mbeumo is offside, this whole conversation is not had again. Now, because Konate has decided to drop deeper when it's not even your man that is making the run. The run is coming from Van Dijk's side. It's not even your man. You've dropped deeper. You've kept him on side. Now you can't get back there. It's easy to look at it and say, okay, this is on Van Dijk. If you look at so many things that happen in that whole sequence, the center of the field was empty, and this is because you have McAllister, who has been knocked down. Gravenberch is playing from the right. As Man U won the ball and they were coming, the space in front of the centre back was empty. For us now, Declan Rice is there. For Chelsea, Caicedo is there. But for Liverpool, it was the same thing against Bournemouth when Semenyo was running. Where were all the midfield players? You understand? All the midfield players. If you go back and check it, you see that Curtis Jones had decided to, for some reason, bump forward. The ball was lost, and then the break has happened. Now, when people start playing football, I always say that the strikers are better footballers than defenders on average. If a striker has you 1v1, he's most likely going to get the better of the defender. Van Dijk plays the way he defends. That's how he has always defended. It's not as if what he's defending now is new. This is how Van Dijk has always defended. When it works, it looks brilliant. When it doesn't work, you understand. This is like the third or fourth, and I say, oh, Van Dijk is past it. He's past it. The main issue for Liverpool is the fact that instead of Trent, I'll tell you we're missing Luis Diaz more than Trent, even defensively.
And funny enough,
not necessarily offensively, I'll say defensively.
On the chat,
you understand?
Yeah, 40 Tech Solutions, I put that on the chat, saying that you guys miss Diaz more than Tar. And there's absolutely no bite from the wings.
Last season, Trent was injured for a bit of last season. Liverpool were still winning games. If you look at Trent's Liverpool career in the past couple of seasons, there are periods where Trent has been out injured and Liverpool still won games. They still created. Now, Salah's form, I don't know what to say about Salah's form, but when Salah is in that kind of form, it's now a problem because yes, the team, you play through him, then he loses the ball. The team is not playing as well. Yeah. But why I say that they are missing Diaz is the fact that you now have Salah on the right, you have Gakpo on the left, who defensively are liabilities. They are not going to track. If you look at Arsenal, the Arsenal wingers, they track back. Saka tracks back. The person on the left also tracks back. Now you have Salah, you have Gakpo, who are not very good tracking back. In fact, the goal that Chelsea scored, Gakpo didn't talk in with what they call him, Gusto. It left McAllister having to jockey between two players. You see, all these things are very simple things. If you look at where the goal came from, how they played through the midfield, you see some of the mistakes. Now, if Salah is not going to score and assist the way he's been scoring or assisting, surely Slot has to rein him back in to help his right back. Yeah. You cannot play Szoboszlai as your right back or Bradley as your right back. Salah now is not tracking. He's not helping defensively. Offensively, he's not doing anything. Yeah. Something has to give. So it's easy to just look at what happened the instant before the goal came in. What did the defender do or what did the defender not do? But I'm telling you that if you look at it collectively, the game today, the only action where you can point the finger at Van Dijk was for the goal, which I've just explained. Like, look, this is what happened. The rest of the game, he was brilliant. He played. He had a very good game. Now, the one moment, you can come out and blame Van Dijk, you can blame Konate, whatever you want to do. But all I'm saying is that the midfield needs to do more to give the defenders. I don't believe that Liverpool have a bad defense. We're saying it because last season they went into last season with Van Dijk, Konate, Kwanzaa, and Joe Gomez 4. This season they've gone in with Van Dijk, Konate, Leone, and Joe Gomez, almost the same 4.
Yeah.
So they talk about the defense is poor. The main issue is the midfield is playing so poorly. Many times the midfield Liverpool they lose a lot of balls in transition, which lets teams break on Liverpool.
Yeah, especially with the fact that
if the midfield is
not agile enough, that actually plays a role too in it. So we have a couple of comments from the chat.
I just
okay, go ahead. Finish your comments.
No, like I've said it. For me, I believe that the biggest problem this season, personally, it's been the midfield. The midfield cover.
Oh, okay.
You understand? That is the issue.
All right, thanks. So let's just quickly go through a couple of discussions on the chat before we get to Chooks. So Chooks, I wanted to talk about Amorim for a bit. So 40 Tech Solutions said that he missed Diaz more than Tar, and of course, Due have expatiated on that. Then we have Che Bukamora in the chat. And it's like, let it pain Doye die. I told you last season that Liverpool won the league based on club's vibe. He has been going on his own rant here as well. Azubike is also saying that the backline is quite shaky, but Konate hasn't been doing too good. Yeah, I agree with you. Azubike now mentioned this person. Why are you guys not resting Salah? I don't think they can rest Salah. That's going to be a very difficult one. Yeah. So, Chooks, let's talk about Amorim. After 35 games, he has finally won back-to-back. How bad of a record is that? And where do you think that mine is going to go on a resurgence, or would you just say one-off?
I mean, in fairness, right? And Ebuka is here on the chat. In fairness, I feel like this season there's been a little more bite to how United plays, right? If you check many of the attacking stats for the season, I think United is top for many of them, for chances created, for XG, many of them, right? So it means there's and it's not like he's played dummies. He's played Arsenal, he's played Chelsea, he's played Liverpool, he's played quite a number of top
big
games,
teams. Yeah.
right? So maybe the recruitment they've had this season has been a good one, right? I mean, we can see in Bruno's quality. He's delivering goals and assists here and there. Bruno, you could argue Bruno being so deep, right, is underutilizing Bruno. Maybe you could get more from having Bruno a little more forward, but you have a lot of quality in those forward areas, right, to cause teams big problems. I see my guy to cause
I think
teams
you just came at the right time.
to cause teams big problems, right? So yeah, I feel like United this season might shock a lot of teams, and top eight, right, was the initial it was the initial outlook for what United could achieve this season. But I mean, now I'm changing that to a top six.
Oh,
Feel
awesome,
like they could
awesome, awesome.
comfortably do top six this season.
Achike, welcome to the chat. And then let's just cook real quick with this comment that Chibuka puts right now. He says the more this Liverpool team becomes more of slot team and less of clubs team, the worse they are going to become. What's your take on that?
I mean, I mentioned it. Was it here? I mentioned it or before and everything. The season before Slot came, they got 82 points and came third, I think. And then last season, they got 84 points and won the league. Arsenal and Man City gave Liverpool that league last year, but that's another story. They didn't improve as much as people think they did. They got 2 more points. If I remember, I might be 3 points, two or 3 more points, but it was enough to win the league. And you can only play what's in front of you, obviously. But then we have not seen Slot yet. Let's see how it goes. I don't know if it become worse. I mean, Klopp's Liverpool team was a fantastic team. But Ebuka's comment is right on the fact that it's now becoming Slot's team. I mean, they lost Trent. People thought it was just the right back, but his creativity, his passing, movement, their best players are a year older. It's an interesting time. I mean, I can't remember what I think it was in the same fantasy league group when they were going for Isak, and I said if they get Isak, then they're definitely not winning the league. And I was yabbed, but we shall see.
Yeah, I agree. So,
Can I ask you a question, Achike?
Yes.
Okay,
sorry,
so
I wanted to start before with one particular thing. Build a bonfire, throw the scousers at the top, put City in the middle, and we'll burn the fucking lot. Sorry, I forgot to start with that. Sorry, go on.
Enjoy yourself. I want to ask you a question. You understand? Because again, like I said, when we're analyzing football, I'd like for us to not just be myopic. You understand?
Of course.
By myopic, I mean you say they had 84 points, they had 82 points.
Yes.
And you just pick it and compare it like that.
No. What I said was. Wait, hold on. What I said was the season before they got 2 more points. That was enough to win the league, and you can only beat what's in front of you.
No. Hold on.
Wait now. But he did not markedly improve Klopp's team. This is when we'll see.
I'm coming now. So what I'm asking you now is that the fact that Liverpool won the league with around 5 games to go last season,
yes,
and ended up not winning a game in the last 5. I think in the last 5 games they didn't or the last 4 games they didn't after they beat Spurs, because they basically cruised towards the end of the season.
Now after they beat Spurs, the title was given to them. Now, if you're challengers, don't do anything.
No, I'm coming now. Hold on. You're saying now that they've won the league. 84, 82. It's just a 2 point.
No, you're reading it wrong. Let me explain what I'm saying. Yeah. The only thing constant in every league season is 3 points gives you a win, 1 point gives you a draw.
Okay.
The intricacies of the different teams, different players have come, some have sold, injuries or whatever are different. You understand? Those are not constant factors. Yeah?
Okay.
Now, Liverpool were the best team in the Premier League last season. No argument about it. They won the league in April, was it? No argument about it.
April, yeah.
Now, I'm comparing that team to themselves the year before, and they were only 2 points better than the team of the year. Wait, of the year before. They were better than all the other 19 teams in the Premier League last season. No? I'm not disputing that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Do you get me?
No.
Okay.
I understand. What I'm saying to you is that the fact that Liverpool won the league early, and took their foot off the pedal,
is why they have less
and
points.
played 4 games. Now, again, 4 games, that is 12 points on grab. If you have 12 points on grab, I think they drew Arsenal, they drew the last game of the season to Palace, they lost to Chelsea, and I think they lost the other one. So basically, they picked up 2 points from the last 12. So that's basically them leaving 10 points on the table that we don't know what could have happened.
100%.
Had they been pushing out for it. So 100%. What I'm saying to you now is that you've won the league early.
Yes.
You get the fact that they've taken their foot off the pedal. Had it been that they needed to get more, let me say 6 more points or 7 more points, and they did, the 2 points you're talking about now will be maybe 8 or 9 points.
And 100%, here's the crux of my point. What did I say after I said that thing? I said the other teams, because they were not pushed, so we don't know where they could have reached. That was my initial point now. They were not pushed. At 70-something points, they had won the league. They just needed to get 7 more points or whatever, right? That is a failing of the other guy. Wait,
if you don't know where they could have reached, now you don't know where they could have reached, but they reached 84. You don't know if they could have gone beyond 84. So don't you think that you using 84 as the benchmark and saying that
if they were pushed, they might have gotten less now. Do you understand? You're looking at a constant. 3 points is a win, 1 point is a draw, right? If, like, for example, do you remember the Man City team, the best Premier League team, winning team of all time?
I'm not. Again, whatever. When Liverpool were pushed in the Premier League, between when the league started, when everybody was still in the title race, between after the Forest game,
they were winning every game.
So when they were pushed, they kept on winning every game.
Yes.
Suddenly, you understand.
Why are you saying? Why are you saying suddenly? People get tired too. Now that's part of football, like Nottingham Forest.
Because they've built up a cushion. They've had a cushion. They've built up a cushion. You understand? A 12-point gap.
Wait,
or like
that's one angle. Did Nottingham Forest build up a cushion and then failed? No. The season is 38 games. And the only constant
it's one angle.
I know, but you see,
why don't you?
We're saying ifs and buts, right?
Only now, again, what I'm saying to you is, you can say the glass is half full or the glass is half empty.
100%. No, but can I say something? Can I say something? Wait. The glass is half full or half empty, His opinion,
Okay.
The quantity is 500 ml. Is fact. It's a 1 liter glass. The quantity is 500 ml. Is fact. Points are fact. Whether it's because I drank it or it poured out, we don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying? We can only point to the things that
if you don't know, why are you now saying it almost like a fact that I'm
not saying it like a fact. It is a fact that they got 84 points. Is that not a fact? Wait, hold on. It's a fact they got 84 points, right?
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
It's in fact the team before that got 82 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why those teams got their different points? One, maybe okay, let's go back to the team before. They only got 82 points because Salah went to the Nations Cup. Do you understand? Anybody can say any if. We can only work with the things in front of us. Now, let's see. They've gotten 82 points last year, 84 points last year. They won the league, right? Remember, I pointed out very easily. I didn't say they were not a bad team or anything. I said they got 2 points more than a team before, the year before that came third. And that is Arsenal and Man City that dropped. They improved. But when your opponents drop 10 points each in a season, right? For whatever reason, injuries, it could be anything, poor form, whatever, right? You're looking at, okay, what can I take from this? Yeah, Liverpool, they put their foot off the gas. Man City 17-18, the 100-point team. They won the league similarly. Man United came second with 81 points, 19 points behind.
Yeah.
You will now not say that they had won. They shouldn't have won those other games. They still played every game to win. Every footballer goes into every game to win. Every team goes into every game to win. Well, unless you need to lose by 10 goals so that Romania will qualify, then Kosovo will go to playoff. But apart from that,
okay.
What we're saying, we're giving opinions here. I'm saying 2 things we can see. Klopp's team, Slot made them play differently, a different type of football. These are things we know. We're now pointing out pointers that might be indicative of something. That's all.
Okay, that's fair. So, Chooks, let me ask you a quick question here. And after this, we're going to leave this Man United and Liverpool talk. Ebuka put a comment on the chat saying, getting the top keeper has made United win back-to-back league games for the first time under Amorim. Was it down to just St. Lemons or the team just did better generally?
I mean, even before this season, I think United always, they always raised the bar whenever they played one of the top six teams, even before this season. So last season, when they played City, even Liverpool, I think they got a result here last season as well. Took a draw from Liverpool, right? But now the story has changed. He has won back-to-back games for the first time, and you want to, look introspectively to say, okay, what has changed? Maybe it was a change in goalkeeper. Again, the goalkeeper made some very good saves today. You can clearly see that he's of different quality to what Onana was, or to what
Outside,
Bayinda
yeah.
is. Right, so you can clearly see that, yeah, there's some upgrade in the goalkeeping area now. So maybe you can attribute it to the goalkeeping department, but I feel like United has always raised the bar whenever they play top teams. I think their problem from last season, especially with Amorim, has always been with the mid-table teams, the Bournemouth, the Brightons, the Evertons of this world, right? But when it comes to the top six, they are there. So
Yeah.
maybe let's wait to see them play those mid-table teams, and then we'll see how they can cope with that.
Yeah, and funny enough, the only team that registered more than 10 shots against Arsenal. Remember when I put that stat that the year was just finishing me in the chat?
Yeah, no. United always represents when it comes to top teams. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay, so let's go to Erling Haaland and let's talk about this crazy attacker. I'm not sure if you're running mad looking at his picture. But right now in 8 Premier League games, he has scored 11 goals. He has also scored 3 goals in 2 Champions League games. Where is the ceiling for this guy? And do you think that Man City's approach has changed in the fact that everything goes to him now? What would be the adverse effect if something goes wrong with him?
Sorry, what could be the what?
The adverse effect if something goes wrong with him.
Yeah, with City, it's always been, for now, they've had to go through Haaland, because when you look at the other player in the City squad that has output, like good enough output is Omar Mamouche, and he's been injured.
Yeah.
When you look at City, they are filled with a lot of players that they can play well, but they don't do. When you look at their numbers in the final third in terms of the conversion to raw stats like goals and assists, it's very, very poor. So when you look at someone like Doku, Savinho, Bernardo Silva, even Phil Foden picked it up a couple of seasons ago, but they are not players that have a lot of attacking numbers per se. Now they'll play very well. They can play well in the game, but it just will not show. So they've had to rely on Haaland, especially with Mamouche out. Because if Mamouche were there, then you see Mamouche, getting the odd goal here and there and helping out. For now, they've had to rely on him, and he's in arguably the form of his life. But the only thing with Haaland is that in most of his season, he's had a couple of seasons whereby Haaland has gone down for maybe sometimes 3 weeks, 2 weeks, like that. So with City riding him the way they are riding him now, any injury to Haaland, it leaves City now wondering where is the goal going to come from. Because I feel like that was their biggest problem, last season. Because if you look at City for a while, they were getting worse in the sense that when they let a player like Mahrez go, you've let Mahrez go. Mahrez was a player that almost every season, Mahrez had like a month or a month plus where Mahrez would just become unplayable. Like he'll be the one winning City games, churning out numbers and things like that. So when they've let Mahrez go, you've let Julian Alvarez go. De Bruyne used to have numbers also. You've let De Bruyne go. You've now replaced him with a lot of Tijani Reinders should have goals and assists in his games, but he doesn't have it.
Checking.
Ryan Cherky, we've not really seen much of Ryan Cherky because of injury. He's someone that can have goals and assists in his game, but we'll keep him on the pitch long enough, to deliver. We are yet to see that. So for now, Haaland's form is what is propelling City. And trust me, when you have a forward that is in this kind of form, it covers a lot of things. Last season, Mo Salah was that for Liverpool. You know, you can argue that he almost single-handedly won Liverpool the league with his numbers from the beginning of the season up until February. It was crazy. He was putting up record-breaking numbers in the Premier League. And that's something that Haaland is doing, and that's what City are piggybacking up for. But do I think it's sustainable? No, I don't really think it's sustainable long-term. When you look at the quality of opposition that City are up against, if Liverpool find their footing, they would have a plethora of attackers that will get raw numbers. Arsenal have not even found their footing yet, and they are still doing what they are doing, you know. So I just feel like for City, they need Haaland needs help, because they will have a game or two where he will be off, and if someone else doesn't step up, they're going to come undone. So for me, so far so good for City. You know, Haaland, his form is immaculate, but I don't think it's realistic to expect Haaland to play like this, you know, for much longer. They need to find solutions to the help he's going to get offensively.
Okay, fair enough. So, Achiki, let's talk about this coming from Azubike. Azubike said that he feels selling Alvarez was a big mistake. Do you share that sentiment?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of Alvarez from when he was it River Plate, you know, when he was winning all the awards as a kid and everything. And he's one of those players that is just involved in a little bit of everything, you know, getting there and all that. And when you say big mistake, you see, it's one of those tricky things in that, can Man City win the league without Alvarez? Yes. Mm-hmm. Does him being there make it easier for them to, help them? Of course, it is. But, he wanted to go. It was big money. Sometimes I look at these things and there's nothing you can do about it there. He had been a good servant. He had won treble, won the World Cup. Maybe he just wants to go somewhere where he can speak Spanish, So would they hold on to an unhappy player? He wanted to go, because if you remember, they bought Alvarez in the January window of the year they bought Haaland. So Alvarez was the one that was going to come at the end of the season or something like that. I remember having a conversation with someone there that if they play them both, I thought at the time that Alvarez would get more goals and assists combined. But then Haaland came and we saw that he was made on Mars, and then showed us the truth. But a mistake. It has made the team a bit worse. But to be honest, they bought some fantastic players. It's just that first international break that has held them. I mean, Ryan Cherky is a talent and a half. Mamouche, you saw what happened when Haaland wasn't around last year. He's all right. Reinders is playing a role that isn't even his natural role. And I think the best can still come from him because, I follow AC Milan a lot. And that guy scored 16 goals for us last year. They have a good team. As it is now, everything is going to Haaland. And the big part of it is that he's scoring them. Yeah. If they were going to him and he was missing them, we'd not be like, use a different route. Now, why are you crossing to this guy? Why he's not doing it? Yesterday, they were sending balls low. First proper cross of the second half. Yeah, boom. Yeah. It now puts you, and he could have gotten like 4 yesterday, if I remember correctly. Now, there's one that he went around the keeper and then went to side netting. And so it's one of those things where, yes, Alvarez is a good player, but if Alvarez was in the team now, they wouldn't have probably gone for Cherky and Reinders, people who are younger and who can maybe, who knows? It wasn't a mistake because they can still win a league without him. But as it is now, they're missing a little bit of something else that he brought, which we don't know. Cherky and Mamouche might have it.
Fair enough. Okay, so Chooks, let's talk about him for a bit. Beto, how horrible is that guy as an attacker? Players went ahead and signed Grealish, brought in Drisby Hall, and Ndiaye. So imagine having that kind of attacking midfield behind you, who do everything they can to feed you the little amount of chances they get, but he keeps placing. I thought they signed Tiemo Barry for 13 mil or for 14 mil. Why don't they use him? What's your take on Beto as an individual? And was it good to leave him and allow this year to go?
No, I think maybe he just flat out deceived towards the end of last season. When he picked some form and just gave them some hope that there was a player in there. But to be fair, I mean, I feel like they have enough quality on the bench to pick someone else ahead of him because the kinds of quality of chances that this guy has missed this season. I mean, at some point I was even looking at him for my FPL, right? Because I was thinking, oh, okay, just doing some scouting, but when I went through the stats and then saw some highlights of some of the things, I'm like, nah, this isn't. So in terms of the quality, I mean, we haven't seen Barry really deliver in the EPL. He did well for Villarreal last season, but we don't know how he would perform in the EPL, right? But I mean, I've watched him in La Liga, even watched live games, seen a few highlights as well, and I think he has something to just very similar in the mode of Beto, just similar height, similar playing style as well. But again, one he's a bit more confident than Beto is, and
Wow.
I think he deserves that chance to start showing what he can do.
So, Zoe, let's talk about clean sheets. Under Sean Dyche, Everton, the attacking play was quite horrible, but at least they kept a couple of clean sheets and they were renowned for that defensive style. Under Moyes, they've kept only two clean sheets this season. One game against Aston Villa that was a 0-0 draw, and a 2-0 win against Brighton. Is it down to the fact that Gerald Braithwaite is still injured, or do you think Moyes' style of play has seen him just forfeit defensive defensive football that Everton was renowned for to his new attacking style?
I think it's down to the personnel, you understand, that he has on the pitch. And again, when you watch Iliman in there, I like him a lot. He's a very good attacking player. Before the City game, Grealish was playing. They have Beto Barry playing up front. So I just think that, and when you look at Everton back then, they were there were times when Everton when they were playing games, you were struggling to see where the goal would come from. Like how are Everton going to score? Now they look so much better offensively. But again, when you look better offensively, when you're passing it around, what that does is positionally, you understand, most of your players, you understand, are coming up. You're playing a bit higher up the pitch, and if you lose the ball,
The
when
transition.
things break on you, yes, when they have transitions against you, you understand, it's harder to defend. So it's a case of you have to find a right balance. Are they leaking in more goals? Yes. But when you compare how many more goals they've leaked in to how many more they've scored, you see that the balance is actually right because they are now scoring more. Look, Everton for a very long time, I'll say this. Anybody that plays FPL knows that apart from the season when Everton had Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, more often than not, you don't even touch an Everton offensive asset. Under
Yeah.
Sean Dyche, nobody is getting an offensive asset from Everton. But we are this season now. If you look at the returns from Jack Grealish and Iliman Ndiaye, it's proper.
Yeah.
They look like a team whereby where like they can get goals, they can get more than one goal, they can get two goals, they can get three goals in certain
Yeah.
games. So I just believe that Moyes, he came in and he got the balance right. They are better off offensively. They don't have to defend as deep as they used to. When they want to, they can, but they don't have to. So overall, I just think that what use is clean sheets when you're not picking up the requisite points. I'd rather score goals, even if I'm not keeping clean sheet, but I'm winning games, which is what Moyes is doing. Everton right now this season are as dangerous an Everton team you're going to get as it has been in a very, very long time. This is
Yeah.
arguably the best. This is the best Everton team in the Premier League for a very, very long time. So again, I believe that Moyes has gotten the balance right between attacking and defending for them. It's better.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so let's quickly look at other key results, and we'll start with that guy Wells. So Chiki, this used to be your man back in the day when Manchester United. Obviously, he joined us at Arsenal, didn't cook as much. But right now, Joao Pedro leaving Brighton and them not really signing like a renowned centre forward. He almost has come back to Welbeck to come up with the goods. What's your take on him this season? And do you think he's someone that will be going to lead the line for them until they get a new striker?
I mean, I'm very biased, very, very biased. I was at Danny Welbeck's debut at Old Trafford. So now my boy, and I'm so happy. I mean, I didn't love it when he was scoring goals for Arsenal, obviously. But seeing him doing well at the ripe old age, he's like 34 now? How old is he now?
Mhm.
Kai. I'm getting old. Dude. Like, you know, like, yeah, I mean, Brighton are a funny team. This season, I've only watched, I think, 3 of their full 90 minutes. I think I watched the Spurs game. Was it Spurs? I think I watched the Man City game. The Spurs, it's like they played the game in acts, like it was a film. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. You know, because there was a point yesterday where they were all over Newcastle, and there was a point where Newcastle went all over them, and then they went back. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, let's see what the young coach can do. I don't think Danny is in a stage where he's the leading man for 38 Premier League games. I mean, it's Ruta that starts ahead of him now when he doesn't start up top, right? And I didn't really think Ruta was a forward. I used to think he was, well, João Pedro and Ruta, I thought they were the same kind of player, you know, can be a 9 or a 10 kind of thing. So maybe he and Ruta might get an understanding, but I mean, I'm happy for Welbs. Some people started mentioning that he should make the England squad for the World Cup if he keeps it up. But I'm just happy for him. He's having it later years of his career. He's doing all right. I don't think he's the man to lead them for 38 games. But every time he comes on, he seems to have a little bit of an impact. When he starts, he has an impact. So long may it continue.
Awesome. So Chooks, let's talk about Newcastle and Baltimore. You know, there was so much drama around you and Alexander Isak thing. And since they signed Lord Voldemort, the guy has
I said it. I told people, Voldemort is here, the Dark Lord.
So his goal against Brighton was perfect. Against Arsenal, he had a good header. Against Wolves, also a header. And he had the penalty. Was it the Champions League? No, the penalty was in the Premier League.
Champions League and Premier League.
Best penalty I've seen this season.
Against Wolves, where he roofed, you know. So with Johan Wissa still out injured, what do you think would happen when Wissa comes? Do you think they will share minutes, or do you think Wissa will have to go to the flank? Because in midfield, they have 3 bricklayers, Joelinton, Onali, and Bonucci, who are not going to leave. So what do you think is going to happen when Wissa comes to full fitness?
Yeah, I mean, the same headache that Slot is having with Isak and Ekitike right now, right? I think that's the same headache Howie will have to deal with when Wissa comes back, because it's also good to have that kind of quality, right? Because at some point, maybe when you're chasing games, you need to score goals. You need to change your formation to like a 4-4-2 to accommodate both strikers. But I know they will actually have to share minutes. I don't see both of them starting. Although Lord Voldemort, like you guys call him, I think he's tactically flexible. He's someone who can play from the wings. Throughout the Under-20 World Cup, for example, he was playing from the wings, sometimes from CAM. So he's someone who can adapt to many kinds of situations on the pitch, and you need those kinds of players in your team. So I think it's just how his headache to see how he's going to utilize both of them. But it's a good headache to have.
Oh, awesome. So Doye, last time Newcastle went to the Champions League, they had a horrific campaign, and obviously it took its toll in the Premier League as well. Do you think they are better equipped to handle the rigors of the Champions League and the Premier League this season with the signings they made this summer?
I think with their offensive signings, personally, I think that they are offensively. Where I'd have an issue with Newcastle is the fact that Eddie Howe doesn't rotate much in his midfield. You know, it's mostly like if they're all fit, you're going to get Tonali, Guimaraes, and Joelinton. You know, occasionally he brings on Miley from the bench and Willock and all that, but they come from the bench. They rarely start. So that's where I feel like the burnout, you understand, it's going to catch up with Newcastle. And also, you know, defensively, they've been unfortunate with the amount of injuries that they've had. You know, Lewis Hall was looking like he was on his way to becoming England's
Wait, hold on. Still in Newcastle?
No, they've released him.
Okay, because when you said defensive injury...
Lascelles is still in Newcastle now.
Are you kidding?
No, Lascelles is still in Newcastle.
As you said injuries and defense. Sorry, as you said injuries and defense, his face just came to my eye, and I've not seen that guy forever. He has actually played. Okay.
Lascelles has played the game this season now.
Sorry, I just haven't seen him. Sorry, when you said injuries, I didn't remember.
Against Atletico Madrid and Arsenal from the bench.
You said?
Okay, nice.
Okay,
Sorry, I actually thought he had died.
Go ahead.
So okay, so what I was saying, I'm just trying to check this Lascelles something. I know that I've seen him in a game
Okay.
this
Okay. No,
season.
no. I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
Correct.
he
He has
came
played
on
this season.
against
He
he
played
came on
Arsenal.
against Arsenal.
Against
He
Arsenal,
came on
yeah.
against Arsenal.
Oh,
Yeah.
I left that
So
game early.
again, with Newcastle, they've been unlucky with injuries. You understand to some key Livramento. Then Hall was already out. Trippier has lost a step clearly. But I just feel like offensively they should have enough because on paper, they have Harvey Barnes. They have 6 in the front line. You understand? They have 6 players whereby they are all interchangeable. Last season
And
Jacob Murphy had a spectacular campaign. This season Elanga is struggling, but Murphy is more than good enough to be a backup there. You have Harvey Barnes and Gordon on the left, and you have Voltemade and Wissa. You get
and even
in the
Osila.
middle. So they should have enough. The only question is that despite having enough, is the coach going to be brave enough to rotate the team, give the fringe players enough game time so that when eventually any of the forwards drop out, the fringe player is more than ready. You understand? Like he's already feeling like part of the team and then to start and then do a good job. That is the only place I question Newcastle, because if you look at Newcastle, if everybody is fit, I can tell you for a fact the midfield three that is going to start. I know Gordon is on the left. I know Voltemade will start up front. Had Elanga been playing well, I'll tell you Elanga will start on the right. Eddie Howe he's not somebody that I feel like is big on rotating key players. You understand, like that at Newcastle. So that's where towards the middle or the end of the season, that's where it may catch up with them. But I still feel like Newcastle they have enough to do well this season. By well, I mean probably top 5, fifth. Probably 5th position, 5th or 6th, and in the Champions League, you don't want to go to St. James's Park. Barcelona know how difficult that game was. Barcelona came out with a victory, but on another day, they could have lost that game by 3 or 4. So Newcastle, having that home support, the Champions League, they should be fired up and everything. So I feel like they would have a good season. They have good players, and they have a very good manager.
Awesome. So let's go to the next game. This was the topsy-turvy encounter between Crystal Palace and Bournemouth. So Achike, Crystal Palace have been in amazing form. They are beaten up until the Everton game, and you can see that they've been very consistent. However, they basically use the same squad for almost every game they've played. And now they have the Conference League. Someone like Chooks last season was flexing in the Conference League because he could bring in McGree and Nkunku and Ty Judge. But Crystal Palace doesn't have that kind of luxury. At what point do you think their fitness issue will come back to bite them?
So it's a tricky one, yeah, because the way watching Crystal Palace, so how Eze used to play, how Euro now is playing and everything, right? Yeah, they have a bit of a small squad, and they use the same players every week, but they're not really intense, if that makes any sense. Except for when they win the ball and they run really quickly about it. You understand what I mean? It's almost like they play the game at the pace that suits them. Like, obviously, my man Munoz running down the flank when the ball is broken free and all that. But in general, and I think the advantage they have is that we say they play roughly the same squad, yeah, but not in all the same places. Like, Kamada sometimes plays as one of the 10. Then the next game, you now play as one of the 6s or 4, depending on if you're Nigeria, 6s and 4s. And then, we have Adam Wharton, you have Will Hughes. So it's one of those things where, and those two guys, whoever is playing in that position, I think, not to bring everything to Man United, that's the kind of back and forth they're looking for that is lacking in the Man United midfield. Have you watched when one goes and one stays? They're almost telepathic about it. And so when you have players who are always in their position, you tend to do less running. I've forgotten which coach it was. I said, the ball always moves faster than you. So move the ball around a lot more. So, I mean, hopefully they don't get any injuries because they're one bad injury away from, is that guy, Udad, is he still there? That's striker they got from Celtic.
Also
Edward, is he still there?
Oh, no.
I don't even know. That's my point. We've not needed to see anybody Yeah, because it's crazy. Even that essay boy they bought that played for them the cup essay. We've seen him in flashes. So I mean, I hope they, I mean, with all due respect, Crystal Palace are good enough. Any Premier League team that is in the Conference League should win the Conference League. Basically, let's just be honest about it. With the wage structures, the players that are playing.
Well, Aston Villa didn't win it. Now.
I said they should be ashamed of themselves because they were pushing for. Actually, to be fair to Aston Villa, they were pushing for a top floor place, but they're not Chelsea, so they couldn't do both. Yeah, fair, but I think Palace will be all right. But I because their game is not the intense Ange type of game that they will get injuries naturally from the playing of the game. So we just hope there's no bad tackle somewhere for the wrong player and all that.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks. So, Chooks, let's just quickly talk about Bournemouth. So far, it has been the Antoine Semenyo show. What's your take on his performances so far? And do you think Evan Nielsen needs to step up his game, especially with the fact that Eli Junior Krupi came in this weekend and scored the brace?
Yeah. I mean, Semenyo has taken his game to a different level this season. He's been quite consistent, even beyond the goals and the assists. I mean, for those of us who play FPL, you could see that, he's always the go-to guy whenever they're looking to cause some problems to the opposition team. So kudos to them. I feel like the coach Irariola, feel like he knows what he's doing, and I don't think he has at least maybe more than one season there in Bournemouth. I feel like start this season or maybe next season, one of the big six will come calling, or if not the big six, then maybe just the Newcastles, the level of the new. Even I mean, he's reached that level now, but let's say the level of the Newcastles will come looking for him. Yeah, in terms of the quality, Evan Nielsen has shown he will give you the consistent 10 to 12 goals, 13 goals. The level of goal scoring you'd expect from a striker in that team. So I don't think there's any qualms with him at all. Krupi Junior, talented young star, top scorer in French Division 2. EPL is a step too high for him now, but I mean he's shown he's able to score 2 goals against the top team in Crystal Palace. So yeah, that's some good depth there. I think the real problem coming into the season for Bournemouth wasn't even in the attacking area; it was in the defensive areas. Yeah,
and they
seeing how much they lost, but then again, you can also see that they are also one of the worst defenses, right? Because they're conceding quite some easy chances as well. But kudos to them. They've shown that they can fight and stay somewhere in and around the top 5 in the first 8 game weeks. Let's see if they are able to keep that up till the end of the season. I know that's almost impossible, but I mean we've seen harder things happen. So yeah, fingers crossed on that one.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's go to the next fixture, and let's talk about Wolves. Is there any hope for this club this season?
Honestly speaking, I can't even say much about the Sunderland, because look, like Sunderland versus Wolves, I don't even see any excitement or any point. And I didn't see any point in even checking up on the game. I just glanced at the scores and I saw that Wolves were losing to Sunderland, and I was just like, look, these are the kind of games that if you want to, considering where they are on the table, these are the kind of games whereby if you want to stay up in the Premier League, you have to take points off of the teams around you. These are classic 6-pointers. Sunderland is not even around Wolves, but the expectation, coming in. Wolves so far this season having just only 2 points in the campaign. Look, the end is near. Unfortunately for them, what they call him, I don't think Strand Larsen is back. Is he back from injury?
Oh yeah, he has been playing actually.
His mind is in Newcastle.
He's been playing now.
I'm honestly speaking, I'm not even really as bothered about, because when you saw last season, for a while when Wolves were even picking up, when Cunha was playing, Cunha was playing. If you look at the numbers he was even putting up with Nori and Hassan from wing back, getting some assists and that, it was still a team devoid of quality. They still did not have a lot of quality, at Wolves. So this season, seeing the results, seeing the recruitment that they made, going back to playing players like Doherty, bringing Doherty back into the team after he was out of the team for a while because of Semedo. He's getting games. It's also the risk with going to sign the Arias from one of your main one of your major signings you get for a team that you're going to struggle relegation. You are now going to bring a player from the South American League. You don't know how he's going to do. You don't know how long it will take him to settle. Look, I just believe that the owners of Wolves had made up their mind that this season was going to be a throwaway, because so far they've been the worst team in the Premier League, and I think it's going to continue for a long time because I don't even see the quality that they have in the team to help dig them out of it. Sunderland beating them 2-0, and like it wasn't a good result for them. So I think that relegation they're already staying face-to-face relegation. If they don't do something, because between now and January, there's not much help that is coming in. I know Ashton Larson was injured at the point in time. I didn't even know he was even back self. So he was even the one that was even looking at, and maybe that's the help that is coming. But if you can't create for your striker, it's almost useless. I think Wolves are going to go down this season. They've had a good run, the owner feels, in the Premier League. So unfortunately, if they don't do something in the transfer window, and by that time, how many points behind are they going to be? Because if you look at the Premier League this season, the teams that you were thinking were going to be there, the Burnley and the Sunderland, they're already picking up points. Leeds United, they're picking up points. By the time you leave it, you're going to be chasing teams with Premier League proven players, because right now it's Nottingham Forest and West Ham that are in the relegation zone with them. And I don't believe they have the quality that those two teams have. So they're already putting themselves behind the 8 ball, and I feel like it won't be enough.
I agree. So Achike, let's talk Sunderland. 8 games played, 4 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats. How impressed have you been with them?
No, you don't understand. I'm extremely impressed because, they came 6th in the championship. It's playoffs that brought them here now. To be fair, when they had, like my man was saying about Liverpool, when they were sure they were in the playoffs, for the last of their games, they rested players and all that. So maybe that position was not fully honest. But recruitment has been on point. They lost one of their best players, Joe Bellingham. And they've just played as a team, which is surprising. It's considering how many new players they brought, And just one of those things that, sorry?
Yeah.
Just one of those things. Arsenal fans might not want to hear this, but Xhaka knows how to motivate people that want to be motivated. Like in Leverkusen and here in Sunderland, not those wusses in Arsenal then, and those Arsenal fans that were hating on the poor guy. His form has been amazing. Granite, now you be this. Yeah. And when he was fighting to make the move, I was wondering, what's he going there for? They must have promised him 2 plots of land and a village square or something like that, because he fought so hard for that move. And with all due respect, he's justifying it. My guy is playing out of his skin. Their coach is a young, sharp coach. They have some. Enzo Lefebvre is a good player. Ebuka, our friend, has been talking about him for years and all that. And things are just going well for them. To be fair, good fixtures to begin with, but good fixtures and momentum. That's what builds. Because going back to what my man said, Wolves, like he said, the owners there, I think they've gotten too comfortable. They forgot, because they got all that money with George Mendes and won the championship so easily, and came with above championship level players to the Premier League and did well. Because every season they sell, they buy worse.
Yeah.
It's crazy, because I remember how some United fans were saying, sell Bruno, now get 3 players. Bro, you're not sure what you get. Like you said, with the South American guy, you can't be fighting a relegation battle and hoping you're going to get some South American guy, because your last few South Americans did well, but they didn't come straight from South America. Cunha was already on Atletico Madrid, other places. I think it was only Andre. It was only Andre that came straight, right?
Yeah, from Fluminense, yes.
And what happened? That's when they were battering relegation last year. Now. You see?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tricky one. Sunderland, keep it up, man. Keep it up.
Awesome. So, Chooks, let's talk about the final fixture, which was the Burnley versus Leeds game. This had a huge championship vibe about it, but I think the right team went over. Did you watch the game, and what was your take on it?
No, I didn't watch the game, but I think my expectation before the game was that Burnley was going to win, right? And I had that expectation because of how how they played in the championship. And if you see Burnley this season, they've also focused on those games, right, from teams around them. They've taken those
Yeah,
games
they
seriously.
also, they
I
also beat
think
Sunderland actually too.
exactly, yeah, they
Mm.
beat Sunderland, and I think they also kept a clean sheet against Sunderland. So these are the teams that they expect that come what may, they should be able to beat because these now our own people beat this, right?
Yeah.
So I was expecting them to get that result against Leeds, and I wasn't really surprised with the clean sheets, to be fair. So yeah, I didn't watch the game, so not much to say.
Okay, awesome. So Dwayne, Leeds actually had Joel Pirou, who scored 19 goals for them in the championship coming to the Premier League. But they gave him the Temupuki treatment and decided to go for DCL as their leading forward. And right now, the guy have been missing chances galore, like how he used to do in Everton. Do you think it's high time they revert back to Joel Pirou, or do they give Noah Okafor a chance at centre forward?
Well, the thing there with Calvert-Lewin is his game at times is it's beyond the chances he understands. He's usually a handful for defenders. He's very good aerially. He can battle and try to hold up play and things like that. And then when you're so now it's twofold. You may want a striker that is clinical in front of goal and has the chances. But if the striker cannot cut it with the Premier League, the aggression and of the defenders and bring others into play and everything, he's not even going to get the chances to begin with. To say,
Yeah.
okay, I want clinical taking these chances. You understand? So I believe that Calvert-Lewin, you get with his Premier League experience and everything, he will actually help the team eventually the goals, hopefully the goals will come. But so far so good for Leeds United. They cannot. I don't feel like they can complain about their start to the season because when you look at the Premier when they were coming up, when you look at the Premier League table right now, I think Leeds, even though they are they are 15th in the Premier League with 8 points. 8 points out of 8. If
Mhm.
you do the mathematics, that's 38 points across the season, and
Which is
again,
safe.
38 points usually keeps you in the league. So
Yeah.
it's a case of you may decide to go to and the problem with relegation teams and teams that are coming from relegation is you don't want bad results to come in like that because before you know it just snowballs and it just gets bigger and then you cannot really back in. So for Leeds United, I don't believe that they can complain about the start they've had to the season. They can't really complain about their attacker because Leeds United so far this season, even though they've not been the best team in front of goal. You understand? They are 7 ranks. I think they're still better than Forest, better than West Ham, better than Wolves.
Yeah.
They are on par with Newcastle. Aston Villa has scored just one more goal than them. So again, they can get a bit more goals, but they are new to the league. They are still bedding in and everything. And eventually, I feel like I was actually surprised they lost to Burnley. I was expecting Leeds to get a goal against Burnley and at least come out of that game with a draw because since they've both been in the Premier League, Leeds has been the better team than Burnley. Funny, Burnley have had some games that you sit up and then you take note, like they've been a handful themselves, but the
Yeah.
results just didn't go their way because they should have collected a point from Liverpool and they should have collected a point from Old Trafford, from
Yeah.
Manchester United, but it didn't go their way. But I expected Leeds to get a result, you understand, in that game. I was surprised they didn't. But like I said, eventually I believe that the goals, if Calvert-Lewin, his main problem, I just believe that if he's fit and he gets a constant run of games, he will get them enough goals to be able to keep them in the Premier League. When he wasn't scoring, it was because of Everton. They were not really creating. His fitness was a problem in and out of the team. It was now a lot, and I believe that it was just in his head. But with time, I believe that he's going to be good enough to get them the goals they need to stay in the Premier League. So I don't believe going back to the striker from the champion. The Championship and the Premier League are two different games altogether. Two different
Okay.
styles.
Okay, fair enough. So let's look at the outstanding fixture, which is the West Ham versus Brentford game. I don't know why West Ham have a penchant of playing Monday night games. So actually, you've seen the Espirito Santo come into the side. Obviously, he had a tough run against Everton and Arsenal. Understandably, we're going to be a game was expected to lose. Now that he's about to come up against a Brentford side that's also been struggling in the Premier League this season, Do you think West Ham fans will be going to be disappointed if he doesn't win this game on Monday night?
I mean, remember we had this conversation the last time about West Ham fans and my opinion on their entitlement feeling. But let's focus
Yeah.
on Nuno himself. Nuno is a good
Mhm.
manager. He'll bring the best out of West Ham. With the players they have, I don't even think there'll be a problem. West Ham should be safe. I think with Nuno at the helm and the players they have, because we forget they have good players. It's just that
Yeah.
injuries sometimes. I mean, look at that first game against Everton. Some of it looked like somebody that had been born anew, born again in the fountains of somewhere, and then they've got Jared Bowen. Fulcro can be a handful as well. Ward Prowse is there for delivery, for headers. I think they'll be fine. And Nuno, I think, that's his level of team, West Ham, Nottingham Forest and all that. We saw what happened in Spurs.
Yeah.
And I personally think Nuno will be fine. Whether Nuno will get his first win against Brentford are kind of tricky. And then with the Nigerian Italian boy and his long throws, you never know what's going to happen. It's one of these games that it's what time? It'll be 1 p.m. Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch this game full 90 because there's a lot I'm intrigued about and I feel like I don't know about.
Nice. I agree with you on that. Okay, so let's just quickly touch on our surprise of the week. As we always do, we look at the fixtures or whatever that happened in the course of the game week that was a surprise to you. And I would like to hear from you guys. Mine obviously was the fourth L for Liverpool, So I was kind of really dwelt on this. I won't talk much. But let's just go through the panelists. What is your surprise of the week?
It's still going to be the Liverpool result because look, despite being poor, Liverpool are a team that are always very difficult to beat at Anfield. The previous 3 losses that they had were 3 away games. They rarely lose at Anfield. Last season, I don't even think they lost at Anfield in the league. I can't remember them losing at Anfield in the league. So that was again they were playing poorly. Not like overall, but they were having a poor spell coming into the game. I felt like the international break would have done them a whole lot of good to refresh and then come out without that. But the early goal just set them back. So I think it's the Liverpool game. Losing at Anfield, it's a rarity.
True. Chooks?
Yeah, I mean, again, for me, it will be the Liverpool game, but without wanting to repeat what you guys have said, maybe I'll go with the Mateta miss again. That miss that should have made it 4-3. Right? That was the real shocker for me, right? Because if he had done that at the 99th minute, coming back from behind to win the game would have been a real fairy tale. So yeah, I think that was the real big surprise for me.
Yeah. And that have helped me in LMS, which I've actually gone out from.
That's true.
Get out. Achiko, how about you?
Well, my biggest surprise was the Crystal Palace Bournemouth high scoring game. They're not two teams. There are two teams that usually cancel each other out. 1-0, 2-0, 0-0, and all that. So I was quite shocked as I was getting the what do you call it?
As a matter of fact, they had done consecutive 0-0 games. So I was also expecting a low scoring game.
Yeah, because it was one of the. So as I was, I was watching the Man City game, so I was getting goal rush. I was like, 6 goals in a game that I would have bet under 1.5.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest surprise that it was so open.
Yeah, makes sense. So let's just quickly look at injury watch. In this section, we look at all the players that got injured in the course of the game week and see who has the biggest impact on his team. So in game week 8, we had 6 significant injuries: Diego Gomez of Brighton, Jacob Brown-Larson of Burnley, Noah Sadiki of Sunderland, Anderson of Fulham, Don Kenny of Fulham, and Casemiro of Man United. So I'll just go through the list. Among these people here, who has the biggest impact on his team?
Most of all these players, I wouldn't really say that I'm overly familiar, you understand, with what they bring, you understand, to their teams. And for Casemiro, that I'm very familiar with what he brings. I believe that Ugarte can actually do a job, in midfield. So I'll probably say is Joachim Anderson for Fulham, because I know that for Fulham, I think he's one of their main mainstays at the back. So without him, and this season so far, Fulham have not really, they haven't really lit up they've been good, but they haven't really done much, in my opinion. You understand, this season. the way
Yeah.
Fulham, you know. So I just believe that if care is not taken, and if you look at the quality in that squad, it's not really a squad that has a lot of quality also. You know, if care is not taken, you may have Fulham, you know, dropping all the way to all these 15th, which is, you know, they're usually at least higher up than that. But so far this season, I don't really think Fulham have been as strong as previous seasons. And with this injury now, it only weakens them further.
Okay, awesome. So before we go to you, Chooks, and there's a chat from EK Chook. We say surprise of the week was in the Mason Green was scoring 4 goals in the game. And I used to remember when Man United. That was one big loss to the team, man. But oh well, there was so much drama around that. So let's not dwell on that. So going to you, Chooks, which of the players in this list actually has the biggest impact on their team?
Yeah, and I agree with Apachino on that Anderson. But then again, Bron Larsen. Is that who's Jacob Bron Larsen again? That's not Strand Larsen, right?
No, no, no. He's a winger at
Oh,
Burnley.
okay. No. Sorry. I got that mistake. I think I'll go with Noah Sadiki, the Sunderland young boy. Yeah, he's been a mainstay in that team. Young guy, started all their games, does his
Mhm.
job, quite technical. And even before he came to the Premier League, he was someone I was also, looking out for. I feel like he hasn't really settled well, but he's got legs, he's got the lungs to go both lengths of the pitch. So supporting Chaka, who is not that
Mobile.
very mobile at this age anymore. So yeah, I think he'll be a big miss for Sunderland in the team.
Okay, chicken.
So
How about
yeah,
you?
that's my pick.
I think it'll be Anderson. Anderson, yeah. He's for the role he has in the team and the lack of support. Like, I don't think the next centre back is as good as he is. So I think that would be the big miss for them. And they
Isn't
were
it
already
Diop?
struggling with Anthony Robinson was gone now. He's been injured as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah, and I think the sad thing for them is that Tete, who was supposed to be the backup, is injured. So they had to go with Issa Diop,
Is
the
Tete
player
a
that
centre back? Tete isn't a centre back now.
he plays them right back and centre back for them.
So
yeah,
Tete. Oof.
Yeah.
It's not Tete that was in it's not from
Aston
Norwich.
Villa.
Is it Aston Villa he was in before?
Tete?
But I know in that game it was it not Diop that was previously at West Ham that couldn't even get games at West Ham. That are also
Yeah.
a terrible defensive team. Is the
Yeah.
one coming in
yeah.
and Fulham they've
This
lost.
Tete is not the Norwich one. It's not the Norwich one. It's a
Okay.
different Tete. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So let's also now go to the next section, which is the Premier League table. So as of right now, what we do here is just look at the teams that are in the bottom half and decide which of them should go to the top half. And I'll start with you, Zoe. I hope you all can see what we have here.
Sorry, you say what? The team will be what?
So basically, what we do here is that we look at the teams currently in the bottom half and determine who are expected to be in the top half.
Who do you think will eventually make it to the top half?
Obviously, I think Newcastle will climb up to the top of the table. Their quality is up there with at least outside the big three. For me, outside the big three, I think Newcastle have almost as much quality as any other person in the Premier League. The only difference between them and Chelsea is I'll say is Cole Palmer. If you look across the team, they have almost as good a quality as that Chelsea side. So I think Newcastle will climb up to the top of the table because I expect them to finish in fifth this season.
Okay, fair enough. Jokes?
Yeah. Aston Villa, Newcastle. Yeah, those two guys will definitely finish in the top half of the table for sure.
What about you, Chige?
Yeah, Newcastle should finish. Everton should finish because I think with Grealish, I mean, he's only going to miss 2 games this season now based on loan.
And he's missed one already.
Aston Villa, I'm not too sure. Aston Villa, I'm not too sure currently. Honestly, there's something going wrong with them. But they want today, which is great. But I need to watch them some more.
Okay, awesome. So now let's look at the top half and talk about the teams that are going to drop. I'm sure Man United should be among them, right?
The teams that are going to drop?
Yeah, to the bottom half.
No, I don't think United will drop. I think United are around where they're going to finish this season. Maybe one more spot higher, like 8. That's around where they're going to finish. They've won their title for the season. Well, we won at Anfield title. That's the only title we're going to win. So congratulations to them.
Okay.
Who's going to drop? Dropping out of the top half, I think it's probably going to be Sunderland and Brighton.
Okay. Fair enough. Chooks?
Same here. Sunderland, Brighton. I think both of them will drops.
Okay. Achike?
Sunderland, Palace are going to come 11th
Yeah.
or 12th.
You're struggling in mid-table. Okay. Fair enough. So we're in the final section of today's stream where we talk about our predictions for game week 9. So I'll call the fifth.
What was the prediction for game week 8? Like, who said? I can't remember.
Yeah. I forgot to get that. It was it's two other guys in the group. Let's bring what I'll do next time. I'll probably put a slide
please,
about
Yeah, it'll be good to compile. See who.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I think he's always getting his predictions wrong. I saw him on that on one master spreadsheet, and he's always close to the relegation zone for predictions. There's a reason why.
I'm not in the prediction game. I've not played the prediction game at all. Is Jay you're thinking is me? Is Jay, not me.
Okay, so I think what I'm going to do next week, I will get a slide where I'll just put from game week 1 to game week 8, where we have all been, just like a leaderboard to see how good our panelists have been doing. That'll be
I know, because I had a really bad week. I remember I said Liverpool beats Crystal Palace. Shame on me.
Okay, so let's start today's one. And the order will be Doye, Chooks, and Achike. So Doye leads West Ham.
Leeds, I think Leeds will beat West Ham, probably 2-1. I think Leeds will beat West Ham.
Chooks?
I think West Ham will win Leeds. Maybe 2-1 as well.
Achike?
Score draw.
Okay, so Chelsea, Sunderland. Doye?
Chelsea, Sunderland. I'd say Chelsea wins 2-1.
Chooks?
Yeah, about the same score. Maybe 3-1.
Achike?
It's a tricky one because Gusto got a red card yesterday, right?
Yeah. But he won't be missed now. He's a benchmark.
Enzo is still injured, right?
Yeah.
No, I think Enzo should be fit for that game.
Okay, no, if Enzo is fit, they'll win. If Enzo doesn't play, draw.
Okay. So do we by what score line?
Oh, well, if Enzo is fit, 3-1.
Okay. Next one, Andre, Newcastle, Fulham.
Newcastle, Fulham. I'll give it to Newcastle. So probably 2-0.
Chooks?
That's a tough one. Maybe a score draw.
Achike?
You guys are forgetting Champions League. Is this week?
Yeah, that's
because when I saw it initially, I was going to say 3-1. No Anderson, Volta, bullet headers, goals. But then Fulham will have a week of rest. I think maybe a tight one, 1-0, 2-1 type thing. So Newcastle.
Okay. Next one, Man United, Brighton.
Man United, Brighton. I think Brighton will win Man United 2-1.
Chooks?
I think it's score draw as well.
Achike?
2-0 Man United. Man United are not losing a Premier League game again till December. I'll bet with any of you.
We have that on record.
I showed you the fixtures. Go ahead.
Don't worry, I can hear you.
Brentford, Liverpool.
Brentford, Liverpool. I think Liverpool will bounce back, but I think it's going to be close. Maybe 2-1 Liverpool.
Chooks?
Well, Liverpool played in the week.
Same here.
In Champions League? Okay, no. And Brentford?
Yeah, like 2-1 as well.
Okay, Achike?
Liverpool traveled to Germany during the week, right? I mean, they should still win 2-1. Okay. So Liverpool 1-2.
Okay. Arsenal, Crystal Palace.
I'll give it to Arsenal 2-0.
Chooks?
2-1. I think Palace will score.
Achike?
Crystal Palace have Europa, or conference. 3-1 to Arsenal. 3-1 to Arsenal.
Okay, so Joye, Aston Villa, Man City.
Villa City, I think they'll play a draw. 1-1.
Chooks,
Draw as well.
Achike.
1-4, Man City.
Joye, Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest. New manager bounce.
I'll give Bournemouth 3-0.
Chooks,
Maybe 2-1.
Achike.
With Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest. 2-0 to Bournemouth.
Okay, Wolves, Burnley. Joye,
Wolves, Burnley.
Battle of the Bastards.
I'll say score draw. 1-1.
Chooks,
It's a tough one. Burnley to win.
scores,
Let's say 2-1.
Achike.
Yes, same. 1-2 Burnley. 1-2 Burnley.
Okay, final fixture. Joye, Everton, Spurs.
I'll pick Everton. Everton to win the game. Probably 2-1.
Chooks,
Same here. 2-1.
Achike.
I think Spurs will win 2-0.
Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna.
By the way, sorry, quick one. Now we've done a prediction. That Aston Villa Man City. Now say when I forget, say Aston Villa they play on Thursday. I just want to know where you guys were coming from. Do you really believe Aston Villa will beat Man City?
Well,
We didn't say
We said draw.
Draw. Okay, draw. Sorry, draw.
Yeah,
But then again, Aston Villa actually beat Man City in Villa Park last season.
I know, but the City have 2 days rest. Anyway, so maybe it's just me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
Okay, so,
yeah. If Villa, sorry.
No, go ahead, Chooks.
I mean, if Villa find a way to stop Haaland, then how does City score? Because without Haaland, City can't score, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. But I'm just worried, because all these Thursday teams are scaring me. Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest, and Aston Villa. I think they won't be doing well after their Thursday game.
Well, let's see how that goes. So, okay, so on the final part of this, your parting comments before we close. So, in general, what are your thoughts on Gameweek 8? I'll start with you, Doye.
It was a game week from hell. Apart from unless you're talking about FPL, which I did very well in, but other than that, it was a game week from hell. Congratulations to Achike and Manchester United. They've won their trophy for the season. We won at Liverpool trophy.
So,
It's going to go in their museum because that's the only trophy they're going to get this season. But overall, Arsenal look daunting. They've always looked like they'll be the one that if you finish above Arsenal, you win the league. So far now, 4 points behind Arsenal. I think Liverpool will start picking. They'll start playing better and they'll pick up points here and there. Hopefully, they won't be too far behind Arsenal when they hit their full flow. But yeah, congratulations to Manchester United.
Chooks?
Yeah, thoughts for the week. I think I'm just at that point where I'll take the results as they come. I mean, I'm speaking as a Chelsea fan now. I take the results as they come because I had higher expectations coming into this season, right? But again, injuries are always part of the game, and the kinds of injuries Chelsea is suffering now. Getting results here and there, with like this victory for this game week, is very important for us. So yeah, I'm grateful for the win, hoping for a win against Sunderland, and then we'll see how that goes. But all in all, I think the week went well for Chelsea and the teams around them.
Awesome. Achike?
My Mandwe, that likes to remind me when Liverpool won 7-0 in a season United finished ahead of them and won a trophy. He's now calling me a one-game trophy hunter. Hey, human beings. Anyway, I mean, it's been a while we won at Anfield, but that's the away ground we won most in the Premier League era. So just another 3 points. Let's keep the season going. Man United now has a run of fixtures, I think 11 games that I'm very confident in every single game up to Man City on 17th of January. This was the one game I was like, after this game, let me just see how things will happen. Yeah, I mean, what I liked today was I'm one of the people that backs Amorim because I think I know what he's trying to do because I watch Sporting a lot. And a lot of our problem is mental because we don't score early enough. We now run and then they score and blah, blah. Today, I liked what we did after we scored first. Liverpool still had lots of chances because they're a good team, blah, blah. But it was a good week. Yeah, FPL was terrible, but yeah.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much. So as always, good to see you guys again next week. Let's just try and make it safe.
Build a bonfire, throw the Scousers at the top, put City in the middle, and we'll burn the fucking lot.
A quick comment.
I think you said
I can't hear you. She's breaking. Oh my God. My network connection. Oh my God. Oh my God. Network. Wait, let me go outside. Network. I can't hear you. Network.
Oh my
God! This is MTN
I've never met you, right? But this is the first time I've seen you smile throughout this call. I wanted to say I've never seen you smile, but this is the first time I've seen you smile throughout the call. No, I mean about you.
Thank God for that. I'm happy to see Atike because me and him we have history, and I have a proposition for him to make money.
Remember, I told you yesterday. I would have dashed you money. I was trying to help
enjoy
you.
Us. I don't enjoy. You said, man, you won't lose in between now and December. I'm ready for you on the side.
No problem.
Yes,
you give me the good odds. Tally all the games and give me odds. I'm ready.
Let's go and wager something.
It's not something you give me the odds to wager and I'll give me good odds. Like I gave Emma Rose on Barcelona on Spain. It can be 1-1 now. 7 games. 7 games. Give me something.
It's not 7 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games.
No, I meant even into December. But if you want to give me 45 games, that's fine.
Wait.
You don't know how confident I am about this run of games.
Wait. You say you're not looking to win.
Don't worry, we'll discuss offline. We're just our friends channel. They will soon ban it.
Okay, let's go and discuss offline. I'll give you all this. No problem. If you said till January, I'll give you all.
No, remember I said till January.
I'll give you
odds for everything. Next 3 games, next 4 games, next 5 games.
No problem.
How does the giving odds work?
No, obviously.
No, I mean, you're not going to just 1-1, 20 games, 20
Okay.
It's a loss now. See loss here now.
Like you saw loss today.
See loss here now.
Like you saw loss today.
Okay, man. You guys are hilarious.
Come and take us. I'll give you all.
Let's go into the group.
How many odds do you want?
Let's go into the group. This channel does not support gambling.
Yes.
No problem.
So thanks, guys. So obviously, where we get in next week, and we'll talk about our predictions and all that. So I'll take some time out just to also get that information. And of course, thank you so much for being part of this journey. As you all know, we're hitting on almost 2,000 subscribers, and you guys have actually been very instrumental to what we're doing here. So for our guys in the chat, thanks as always, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the next stream. Bye, guys.
Good night, man. Nice one.
Cheers, guys.